something is said with which you disagree, please let us know by writing to us at comments@KSC.
This is DBS Radio Network.
Oh, yeah, you got it. You have got it.
I think I got it.
You're listening to Dave Allen, the Nighthawk.
And Ginni.
And Kelly Powers, too.
You are listening to the Nighthawk on KSCO Santa Cruz. The earth has shifted and raised the gifted. We are your hosts, Ginni and Kelly. Sit back, relax, and don't touch that dial.
Welcome to the Nighthawk. Woohoo! Kelly, we're back.
Welcome to the Nighthawk. I'm never going to be that excited.
Why not?
I'm kidding. Yay, welcome to the Nighthawk.
Come on, welcome to the Nighthawk.
This is KSCO Santa Cruz.
I am Ginni.
And I am Kelly Powers. Well, Ginni.
So, what do we have in store for us tonight, Kelly?
We have a fantastic show tonight. We have a guest calling in.
Don't we have we have a Nighthawk, Dave Allen, special guest getting ready to call in. And
Yes.
Who is he, Kelly?
His name is, he is the Psychic Sasquatch.
The Psychic Sasquatch? Who's that?
His name is Kewaunee Lapersatitis, and I think that's how you pronounce it. And I will ask him again because he's told me like 15 times. But
What is a Psychic Sasquatch?
well, he takes a different approach to Sasquatch. So most researchers and scientists, like we had Dr. Jeff Meldrum on, and he is a very,
amazing.
He's a wonderful scientist. He's
Anthropologist.
Yes, but his approach is if you can't prove it, then it isn't, right? So Kewaunee is much more on a spiritual. He has sat with the Native Americans, and so he has a completely different take on Sasquatch than the average Bigfoot researcher.
Is he a psychic?
He is the Psychic Sasquatch.
Well, what about Yetis? Is he
All
a
of them.
psychic Yeti guy?
That's all of them. I think we actually have him calling in. So if you can get him on the line, we will get the Psychic Sasquatch going.
Hello there. You're on the air with...
Yes, this is...
How are you?
Hi, Kewaunee.
I'm fine. Hi. Yes, good evening.
Good evening. Welcome to the Nighthawk. I hear you were a Dave Allen guest at one time. Or several times.
Yeah, I've been a lot of times, over 500 radio and television talk shows over the years.
With Dave Allen or in general?
Just in general. He's been on a lot of different talk shows, but we're very excited because we've been working hard with some of these archived Dave Allen clips, and to find you and the fact that you were one of Dave's guests back in 1998, 99, 2000, it's wonderful to have you on. So thank you for calling and thank you for coming.
Yes, it's a pleasure.
So tell us, where are you calling from?
I'm in eastern Washington State, 400 miles actually east of Seattle, close to the Idaho border.
Okay.
I live in the wilderness on the base of a mountain here where there's 9 Sasquatch on the mountain and that visit me. They teleport, at least one, sometimes 2 would teleport down daily to check on me.
Amazing.
So,
make sure you're all okay and you got everything you need.
Yeah, and they're listening in now. They listen in on all my phone calls and stuff. So,
well, I'm excited to hear that because, well, let's start. I want to talk about who you are first, so our guests can be reminded who is the psychic Sasquatch. And okay, let me ask you this first, Kewaunee. How do you pronounce your last name?
Lapseritis.
Lapseritis. I said it wrong, and you've told me a lot, and I apologize for that. So I'm going to hopefully get it right. But so let's talk a little bit about who you are. Where'd you grow up? Where were you born?
I was raised in Greenfield, Massachusetts, right at the edge of the Berkshire Mountains, 100 miles west of Boston. We had a house in each state, one in western Massachusetts, the other in southern Vermont. I was very fortunate in growing up. We had a 122-acre wilderness estate there in Vermont, and I was raised hunting, fishing, trapping back in the 50s, 1950s, when I was a boy.
Yeah.
So now I'm a social scientist with 4 degrees. I'm also I made my money as a holistic health consultant and wellness educator, and I'm a hypnotherapist as well.
Well, I know. Tell us a little bit about your holistic practices, because I know you've spent a lot of time helping people heal. So I want to at least so the guests or the listeners know, they can contact you for holistic healing, because I know you have an extensive library. Am I correct?
Yes, I have several degrees, like I said, in humanistic psychology and also holistic health and health planning, my master's degree. And I have accumulated a $9,000 library over the years of the best holistic health and herbal medicine books in the world. I'm a master herbalist. It was interesting, after I got my master's degree in holistic health, I studied with 4 different master healers. And it was like my life is like a science fiction movie in a way, but the only difference is it's all for real.
Sure.
But, the old saying, when the student is ready, the teacher will be there, and that's precisely what happened as I learned one when I was ready after another that expanded on me. And plus the ETs, I've seen 7 different races of ETs that have come to me over the years, and they've shared information with me. They've healed me at times when I was sick, and so did the Sasquatch. So I was just so fortunate to have so many experiences, and in fact, I've had so many ongoing experiences that the so-called experts that had 0 experiences have called me a fraud at times, and where they don't realize they're the ones. It's my opinion that they are fraudulently telling people that the Sasquatch are animals and monsters, which of course is not true.
Yeah.
The only monsters I know are those that are trying to kill the Sasquatch. They're the only monsters.
So what are Sasquatch? What is a Yeti? I mean, are they different beings, different, breeds? Tell us a little bit about what is a Sasquatch?
Well, the Sasquatch told me that there's 7 different races of their forest people all over the world, and that the Yeti in the Himalayas, which I've been in the Himalayas investigating the Yeti in 1968, because I've been doing the Sasquatch research for 68 years now.
Yeah.
And they said the Yeti is the least evolved. So China has 2 or 3 races. In Indonesia they do. In Australia there's 3 different races of them. Some are the little people. Some are the medium-sized ones, 6 and 7 feet, and then there's the big giants that are really big. So all this stuff that's supposed to be folklore not. But I'm a social scientist, but I'm not going to try to get a body. That's ridiculous. I befriended them, and they trust me, and I will not help anyone that's trying to harm them in any way.
Right.
Of course, they can take care of themselves, but when hunters get in their area, they're harassing them. They're threatening them because their families are there. And so the Sasquatch will drive them away. And the Sasquatch it's like a mirror. If you go out there with a rifle, with a gun and a bunch of cameras, they'll scare you away. They'll stomp, smash trees, sometimes throw rocks at people to get them out of the area, because these so-called expert researchers many of them are violent.
Right.
If you met them, they would be very kind and pleasant, but they basically the Sasquatch will get aggressive and kick them out of the area. You go into their area with an open heart, with kindness in your heart, and in a loving way, you'll get kindness back. And this is how it works. But you have to let go of the fear. When people are fearful, that puts up a block, so they will not deal with anyone like that.
So if you show love to them, that's what they're interested in. They don't want people to capture them, correct?
Right. Why should they? Do you want to be captured?
Yeah,
No.
they're
No,
smart
hold on.
beings. So, of course, anybody with two brain cells doesn't want to be shot and captured or put in a cage or become a science experiment.
Well, they probably sense that from the people that are coming there because they're able to read minds, correct?
That's correct. Now, in 1973, I did an ethnographic study living amongst the Kewaunee Indians of Upper Amazonia.
What does that mean? What is an say it again? An ethnographic study? What does that mean?
Ethnographic study. Well, I'm an anthropologist, and I was teaching at a college anthropology, and I did this study in conjunction with the Columbian Institute of Anthropology. Mm-hmm. So it's a branch that you go out into a particular area and collect data. And when I ended up in this wild jungle area that took 2 days for me to get up there to this village, I went in with gifts, with fishing hooks, with all this stuff that they could use, and I was very pleasant, very kind to them, and so on. So well, I didn't go in there with a gun to threaten them.
Was this
and this is the same excuse. Let me finish, please. When it's the same thing with the Sasquatch people, you don't go in there with guns and stuff, just like I didn't with these more primitive Indians there, these Native Americans, the Kewaunee Indians. So if I threatened them, they might have killed me or whatever.
Right.
But the point is that this is how you do it. And why? Because the Sasquatch are a people. They're a highly evolved people. So the research is really a combination of anthropology and quantum physics, because the paranormal or psychic phenomena is really mainstream. It's quantum physics.
Right.
But somehow the so-called experts just don't get it. And they're afraid to even mention the word paranormal or psychic, so because their colleagues would really come down on them, which is, again, it's valid. It's quantum physics.
Right.
Well,
So-
they might denounce them, so they won't speak up, right?
Oh, I'm sorry, what is that?
They won't speak up because they might get denounced by their peers. So that's what causes a lot of people not to raise their voice.
Well, and it kind of gets into that fear thing again that you were talking about. Fear of being canceled and fear of being told that you're crazy or whatever. And this is something that I think humans have been, a part of for our entire, being on this planet is psychic interaction. So the question I was going to ask you is this prior to any interaction with the Sasquatch when you went up and gave the gifts?
Well, I asked the Sasquatch, how long have you been monitoring me? And they said, we were there at the moment of your birth because you have a mission with us. And that surprised me, but I have had, as a boy, experiences with them, but I went in denial.
Right.
The only information I got back in the 50s was they were in Canada and in the Pacific Northwest. So here I was in Massachusetts. Why would they be there? Well, of course, they are there. They're in every state, including Rhode Island. So people don't understand that, but they don't show themselves because they're interdimensional, and they stay away from people as much as they can. Why? Because they want to shoot them, or what they want to tell people and go in there with a group of people with guns. So they don't want to be interrupted. And I tell people, if you go into their area, show respect. I lay tobacco, as the Native Americans do, and you lay tobacco in the 4 directions, and you ask for permission to come into that area. And but I don't go any further than that. I wait, and they come to me. I don't have to chase them. These people are stalking them and chasing them, these other researchers, because they don't know what they're doing. They haven't had the experience, and they never will, because they have fear, guns, cameras, and they go out generally in groups of people. Well, if you go out in a group of people, each one has a different vibrational frequency. And they're all low vibrational frequencies because they're fearful. That's why they're in groups. But they never have any experience, or they may have one little tiny experience that won't amount to anything. It's the telepathy, it's the communication that really shines and that changes people. It just changed me when they started talking to me, and it's kind of mind-blowing at times. Way back when I started having these experiences, even though I was never fearful, never had fear of them. So, as a matter of fact, I don't know I can't tell you how many times they tell me they love me, and they refer to me as family because I've stuck my neck out to tell the truth. And somehow, a lot of the researchers don't want to know that kind of truth. They have their own fantasy theories, I call them, that they're this and they're that and they're monsters and so on. And they've been watching too many movies, too many science fiction movies, and they brainwash themselves. So they don't know who they are, who these beings are, these forest beings, and they never will because of they're driving them away when you try to stalk them and chase them and all that stuff.
Well, our last guest was Dr. Diane Kazar, and she's very much a natural healer. And that was her comment, is that people brainwash themselves. So it's interesting that
you're saying the same thing.
You're saying the same thing. I mean, it's very much a similar topic, but different, so it's just interesting to me that
people gaslight themselves into believing what they want to believe.
Exactly.
And so
yeah, it's more comfortable. It's safer for them.
Yes.
And everything. But I mean, when I had liver cancer and I was dying, I had moved to Arizona, and that's when I realized what was going on. And I was talking to a medicine woman, Indian medicine woman, and she invited me to her home in Sedona. So I went over there, and we talked spiritual stuff for hours. And then about 11:45 at night, I said, geez, I better get back to Flagstaff. And she said, gee, you look tired. And I said, well, I am. And she said, I don't want you driving back. It's too dangerous. You could fall asleep. And she said, why don't you stay in my guest room? And so I said, well, all right. And so that night I was in her guest room, and as soon as I shut the light off, 4 6.5-foot kachinas appeared at the foot of my bed, which are ETs, incidentally. And they stayed for 50 minutes telling me about my life, telling me which herbs to take that will heal me, and the importance of letting go of all negative emotions, because there's a direct connection. And I knew that because I was trained when I was studying hypnotherapy by a professor who explained this, and the next thing I knew, I had the book by Louise Hay, who emphasizes the same thing. So there is this connection. Many women who've had breast cancer have. I always say to them, "What happened when you were younger?" And some people say, "Well, nothing." I says, "Were you ever abused in any way?" And some women bury it because it's too painful to think about.
Sure.
And I tell them it's okay to speak up. You need to get that off your chest. I mean, emotionally, but at the same time, physically, because there is that connection which doctors never address because they can't tell people what they don't know, and they've never been trained in that before.
Right.
But this changed my life. In 5.5 weeks, I was cancer-free. And
5 weeks?
5.5 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So the beings, these what you said they were ETs. They gave you an outline of what you needed to do?
Yes, and they emphasized the releasing. They said, you have anger. And I did. I went through, before I left Oregon at the time, 2 separate friends that I absolutely honored and always treated wonderfully, pulled something on me, and I shocked me. And so I had to walk away from them.
Yeah.
And I was angry about it. And when I arrived in Arizona, I had that anger, but that triggered the liver cancer. In Chinese medicine, the liver is the seat of anger. The kidneys are the seat of fear, and so on.
Right.
So after I released that, I laid in bed, actually, because I collapsed 2 days later, and I had the herbs ahead of time, what they told me to get. And I was sleeping 15 and 16 hours a day. But every time I woke up for a short time, I would start to release through forgiveness. And I believe that people here on planet Earth, everybody, one of the main reasons why we're here is to learn how to forgive, because there's so many people that will offend us, and we need to just forgive them and let go and move on. The people who hold on to it and get revenge or do other things end up in prison, or they end up with having diseases and so on, because they've never forgiven anyone.
Right.
And some people have said, well, I'll never forgive him because he this and that. And I said, no, that's precisely what you need to do. So it's important. And for some people, with me at the time, I had to go in layers and let go in layers and let go in layers every time I woke up and after 3 days of doing this, they surrounded, the ETs and Sasquatch surrounded my bed and said, you made it. Now the herbs will work. So because you're no longer holding on to those emotions, you're sending love and forgiveness. And they always say, little brother, walk in unconditional love and trust.
Yes.
And that's what I've been doing ever since.
Well,
that's amazing.
Kewaunee, we have to take a quick break. We're at 8:30, so if you can hang on for just a minute, we'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Nieves Howdegi, owner of Ariana Roofing. We started our business, it's almost going to be 25 years, and we cover the Monterey Bay. We're a little different. We're the oddball in the industry. We have a roofing license which covers new construction, remodels, re-roofs, and conversions. We also do industrial and commercial buildings. We also carry additional licensings because we do a lot of home improvement for customers. We also carry a painting license, a general contractor's license, and an EPA certification from the federal government for lead removal. It's a one-stop shop type deal. To me, one of the most important things is customer service, and we want to thank our customers that have supported us through thick and thin, that have been with us and have been loyal. If it wouldn't be for you guys and gals, we wouldn't be in business. Our contact, we have a cell number, which is 831-750-7044, website, which is under arianaroofing.com. And my email directly is Nieves, Nieves, at arianaroofing.com.
To some people, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much. But that's not necessarily true. By 6 months, they're combining vowels and consonants. By 9 months, they're trying out different kinds of sounds.
I understand. I've been there, done that many times.
Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Early screening and intervention can make a lifetime of difference and unlock a world of possibilities. Take the first step at autismspeaks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Hello, everyone. Manuel Rodriguez from Ace Hardware in Watsonville, Salinas, Gilroy, Marina, and Freedom. Please come by and look at our complete assortment of Craftsman power tools, hand tools, and electric tools. We have a full line of Craftsman. Craftsman still carries an exclusive defective warranty. Bring in the old tool, whatever the reason. If it breaks on you, we'll give you a new one. That's still the same product that was sold 50 years ago. So for all your hardware needs, come on by and see us. Again, stores in Freedom, 2 stores in Watsonville, Salinas, Marina, and Gilroy. We're open 7 days a week, 8 to 7 on Monday through Friday, and 8 to 6 on Saturday and Sunday. If you're looking to do any household project, remember, we're here to help you. If we don't have what you're looking for, whether it's a power tool, a hand tool, a leaf blower, we'll be happy to get it for you.
You know, some conversations just aren't easy right now. I mean, we don't all agree on things, and that's okay. But we need to stay civil. So the next time you find yourself talking to someone who has an opposite point of view, try to respect their opinion, listen actively, and try not to judge. Stay calm and composed and talk about issues, not about each other. Stick to the facts. Be open to learning from their experiences and their point of view and find out why they think the way they do. Find some common ground. And do your best, I mean really, really do your best to try to put yourself in their shoes and their head and their thoughts and their heart and admit that political issues are just tough right now. And even if you don't agree, respect their beliefs. It's always okay to just back off and wish them well. This message is brought to you by KSCO, Live Oak Broadcasting, and your local trusted businesses who have helped bring you this message.
You are listening to the Night Hawk on KSCO Santa Cruz. The earth has shifted and raised the gifted. We are your hosts, Ginni and Kelly. Sit back, relax, and don't touch that dial.
Welcome back, Nighthawkers.
Good evening. You're listening to the Nighthawk Resurrected. I am one of your hosts, Kelly Powers, and I am here with Ginni. And we are on ZBS Radio Network. We have a guest tonight he's great. His name is Kewaunee Lapercititis, and he has written several books. One of his first books is The Psychic Sasquatch and their UFO connection. His second book is The Sasquatch People and the interdimensional connection. So, Kewaunee, are you there?
I'm here.
All right.
Welcome back, sir.
Let's get back to it. So we have until 9. We have our hard break at 9 o'clock, but we are going to roll right through it because I think what your message is so important because there's so much contempt and, just misery out there that I think that if people would open their minds and hear this message of love and hope and healing, that we could...
And forgiveness.
We could become,
more enlightened.
Exactly. We could move to the next enlightenment.
Yes.
What do you think of that?
Yes, I counsel a lot of people. If people are interested in connecting with me in any way, I teach people, for one thing, I'm still doing health consultations. I have someone from South Africa, a businessman's going to be flying over to meet me. On Monday, I've got someone from Texas coming up, and I do a lot by Skype and so on. Matter of fact, 99% of what I do now is by Skype and so on, where I can work with people, and I still have.
How do they reach you?
People with all kinds of ailments. Well, they can email me at sasquatchpeople@hotmail.com.
Okay.
Sasquatchpeople, all one word, at hotmail.com. Or they can call me at 509-590-0415. That's 509-590-0415. And I'd be happy to work with them or help them and or direct them in any way that I can. And like I said, I've been doing this for the healing work for 45 years, and I'm sorry, 48 years, and 45 years ago is when the Sasquatch and ET started talking to me. So it was a big change, a big change that changed the way I see the world and view everything. It's a big eye-opener, the biggest ever.
Yeah. So we were talking about your experience in Sedona with the medicine woman, and so was that your first real psychic encounter with another
ETs?
being?
No.
I know you said it was earlier.
First one. Yeah, that was 1991. It was 1979 that I had my first experience when I was living in Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
I was working for the Native American community there, the First Nations, and they invited me, a group of them, to go to a farm that one of the Indians had purchased, an old farm, and they wanted the medicine man would be there to give a blessing, and they asked me to attend, and so I was the only non-Indian that was there, and they sat around in the field way in back by the edge of the woods and discussing the property and all this stuff. So I wanted to stretch, so people were sitting on the grass or in the field about, maybe 75 yards or more from the house, almost 100 yards from the house. And I got up and started walking to the edge of the woods, and all of a sudden a voice said to me, "I'm the Sasquatch, and I've been watching you for many years, longer than you know or understand." I thought to myself, what? What's going on? And I looked around. I wasn't afraid. I was just perplexed. And I said, I wonder where he is. And he says, as I said, I am the Sasquatch, and I am here. And he repeated himself. So finally I walked from the edge of the woods into the middle of the field on top of a knoll where I could look out. And I said, gee, that was strange. Then all of a sudden a very sophisticated voice said to me, and I am a star person. I, too, have been watching you for many years, longer than you know or understand right now. And so I said to myself, gee, I wonder where he is. And I'm looking around everywhere. And he said, oh, you're looking for me. Right now I'm above you in another dimension. I'm in a spaceship. But no, I'm in a UFO, as you people call it. And so I go, what? So it startled me, but it didn't scare me. And finally, I stopped talking. I don't know why I did. I do know why I did. I was just dumbfounded. So I walked over back where all the other 6 Native Americans were sitting around, and when I inched my way back in and sat down, they were in the middle of a conversation. And one of the Indians said to the medicine man, you should build your sweat lodge over there, saying to the new owner of the property. And he said, oh, no, I will not build it there. And the medicine man spoke up and said, yes, that's an excellent place to build your sweat lodge. And he said, no. He said, I will not build it there. The star people have been landing their spaceships there, and I don't want to disrupt their activity. And I stood up, and I headed for the house. That reality just literally overwhelmed me. And I was sitting outside on a picnic table, and a few minutes later, all 6 of them they were finished. And the owner of the house came up to me and said, animals are attractive to you. And I thought, what? I saw you with my guard dog. You were hugging him. He said, nobody can get near that dog, not even my best friend. And I said, well, animals walk up to me a lot, and vicious dogs are not vicious around me. And he said, well, the Sasquatch also are attracted to you. They like you. I said, what? And he told me later, he says, well, they've been coming in, you've been watching the spaceships, and after they land, within 30 minutes, there's a Sasquatch looking in the window. So I started camping out there. They gave me permission to camp out. But I said, because I was assistant director of a Native American agency, the only non-Indian there, helping to run the agency, and I didn't want to lose my job or look like I was making up stuff or whatever, so I said, I'll never tell anybody that this happened.
Right.
Now, it's because my books have gone all over the world. But it said, I said that, and however, 2 nights later, after this happened, I was still in a daze. I was in a daze for about a month, okay? And but right away, I started to become psychic, and I could hear people's thinking, and all this stuff started happening. The whole scope of psychic phenomena I started to experience, floating around my room and leaving my body, and all kinds of stuff that I never experienced before. And then the second night after this happened on this farm, which was 60 miles north of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, in the middle of the night, I still remember, 2:45 in the morning, a voice said to me, wake up, my friend, we are here. And I was facing the wall in bed, and I opened my eyes, and I said, oh, my God, a burglar broke in. When I rolled over, I thought somebody would have a gun on me. But when I did, there were 2 Sasquatch standing there starting to talk to me. But I could see through them, even though I could see every detail, every wrinkle on their face. I could see the pupils of their eyes moving. And the biggest one floated down through the floor, so he was even with me because he was about 8 foot tall, right through the ceiling, actually. So he went down through the floor and hovered there, where he was about less than 3 feet away, about 2 feet, 2.5 feet, staring right at me. We were talking telepathically back and forth. And he says, you're supposed to be talking about this. You're supposed to share this information. And I said, oh, okay, and they started giving me more and more information. And for almost 2 months, they kept coming every so many days. Then new ones came. Then later, the other ones came. I said, where have you been? I see, I know who you are now again. It was nice to see you again. And then they started following me everywhere. And they've been following me ever since, no matter where. If I'm in a car, if I'm in a plane, they'll talk to me.
So do you
what a blessing.
Do you think they want to communicate with more humans if we had the right intention and, we came to them in a peaceful manner? Do you believe that they're wanting to communicate with more humans?
Yeah. Yes. Right now, they have been right along, but more so right now, because it's the end times, and the Mother Earth the volcanoes are going off now, and more earthquakes, and more tsunami, more everything that's in nature, because we're destroying the Earth. We are the viruses. The humans are the viruses destroying our planet. everything's polluted. We're living in a polluted soup, toxic soup.
Yeah.
The whole planet.
How long do
So
they
now,
say? How long do they say we've been here?
They said the humans were here for 50 million years. So,
and they've
but
reset.
let me just say this: they have been here for 200 million years, and they were created. They told me they were bioengineered by friendly ETs. So this is a part of it. But right now, they are seeking out, and they're doing this, and they have been for the last 20 years. But now it's intensified that they're choosing spiritually minded people to contact. I just got off the phone 3 hours ago, a woman from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and she's starting to have experiences and needed help. So I'll be counseling her and teaching her how to act, what to do, and they're leaving her little gifts and stuff, but she doesn't know quite how to deal with it. So part of my job is to teach people the correct way to telepath. I can tell them, people, they send me maps. I can tell people where they are, how many are there, what their genders are, how to approach them, how to think properly, and so on. And I do about 8 or 10 people a year. So I do this very, very accurately. They've given me this gift that I can locate them anywhere in the world.
Wow.
A woman from Seattle wanted to connect with them, and she goes to Siberia every year. She speaks fluent Russian, and she has friends there who have started a conservation thing in southern Siberian forest. And so she's supportive of that. She goes there every year, and she goes hiking and camping, and she stays in a cabin with her friends. Well, she says, can you find out? I'd like to connect with them over there. And over there, and I've been in touch for years, since the early 80s, with the Russian scientists that are researching what they call the almost over there, which are a Sasquatch type.
Right.
So I said, yes, I can find them anywhere. Send me the maps of that area. So she sent me the maps, and this is how I do it with other people that contact me. And I said, here by this lake, there's a female almost, and she's hanging out by a portal that leads to another dimension. And so I explained, I said, if you go there, she'll connect with you. She says, really, you know that? And I said, well, she told me that. And she said, well, how could you do that? I said, telepathy, there is no limit. I said, I talk to them in Australia, New Zealand, and different places. I said, this is one of my gifts that when they opened me up, my Kundalini, that I can do this. So I'm, so she flew over there, and when she came back, this is what she told me. She says, it was 15 miles off any trail. They don't have all these hiking trails like they do here in the national parks.
Right.
She says, no, this area stays extremely primitive and very pristine, and she had to hire a guy and go out on horseback to get to this place, and he told her how to get back. So he dropped her off, and she set up camp. The very first night that she's sitting around the campfire by herself, at the time she was 60 years old, and she was sitting by the campfire, a female almost ran right in front of her, right through her campsite. Bingo. Exactly as I told her. She was thrilled.
Was she able to communicate?
Yes, and then when she got back here, they started the Sasquatch here started communicating with her because she went. I taught her that the Sasquatch tell me, come to us only with unconditional love and trust. And so I taught her all that, so when she came back, she still had that vibration. You see, the reason the Sasquatch connected with her because she had a high vibrational frequency, like myself. people with guns, fear, cameras, or who are self-serving, all ego. They have a very low vibrational frequency that the Sasquatch stay away from, as if they had the plague. So this is how it works, and they can find me anywhere, just like the ETs find me anywhere I go. They've taken me aboard and restructured my DNA back in February of 2014. And I asked them why, and they said to live longer and to be healthier, because you're devoted to God and to helping humanity, and we need more people like you. So they should just keep spreading the word, keep helping people. That's what we need, and tell them the truth. Because I asked a female forest person who was a shaman. I said, "Gee, what should I tell people? You know, I don't know. I don't, want to get into trouble or whatever." He says, "You'll never get into trouble. We're with you 24/7. You just need to tell the truth. Tell them what happened. Tell the truth." They refer to me as Dream Man. That's the nickname they gave me. And I said, "Why are you calling me Dream Man?" They said, "Because you're a futurist. You're ahead of your time as a human, and so you can dream and make things happen."
Yeah.
And you're Dream Man. So.
So that's your name, because Kewaunee was given to you by the natives. Am I correct?
Yes, it's Apache.
It's Apache, and that was given to you a while ago. So
yes, and I was married to a Navajo Indian woman when I lived in Arizona. We were married for several years, and later we separated, and I came up to Seattle and started a different life and different situation, but to do my healing work and to interact with the beings up here, and they were waiting for me. They found this place for me. They found other places. They tell me where to go because they're waiting for me. It sounds, maybe crazy, and I'm not being egotistical. I'm just telling you the truth because this is my mission. It's my deal.
Yeah.
And I teach other people to connect because they want to connect with good, spiritually minded people. And spirituality isn't that you have to belong to a religion. It has nothing to do with religion. It has to do with respect for all living things, including the forest. Don't throw trash out the windows and if you're in your car, and so on. Respect nature, respect Mother Earth, and all living things. So this is what it's about.
Have you ever asked...
People need to understand that. Need to understand that.
Have you asked questions about where the world's been since we've been here for 500,000 years?
Yeah, I asked one about 12 years ago. I said, will there be a World War III? And he said, World War III has already started. They just haven't